I'm Yesenia Manriquez. I am a student at the University of Arizona South, and I am majoring in early childhood education. Today we will be talking about interactive whiteboards and student response systems. We will be talking and learning about what they are, what their pros and advantages are when we use them in the classroom. We will also be talking about the different brands there are for each and which brands are the most beneficial to us. And then we will be talking about examples of how we can actually use it in the classroom. So we will begin with interactive whiteboards. We will start with what is an interactive whiteboard? Well, an interactive whiteboard is a large display that connects to the computer and then projects what's on the computer's desktop to the board. To be able to control it or to use the interactive whiteboard, you can use a pen or your fingers or a stylus, which can be wireless or not. Also, most of the time when these interactive whiteboards are installed in your classrooms, they will be mounted on the walls or they will be placed on a stand. They're usually mounted on the wall where it's going to be in the center of all students' attention, where all students will have clear visibility of the interactive whiteboard, and where everyone will be able to actually interact and be active in the activity that they're going to be doing for that specific day. So the pros of interactive whiteboards. So we have projection screen. It's a great advantage to use these because it projects the teacher's computer to a bigger image for all students to view and basically understand what they're actually learning. So they have a visual of what they're learning. Also, it improves learning. Students are able to view and learn information in multiple formats. So it gives them a great opportunity to just change a little bit from learning just the usual always on the chalkboard or whiteboard writing on there or just by paper. They are able to learn from an interactive whiteboard. It also increases participation. Students can receive like printouts of the image or lessons that are being taught, and then this avoids having them actually take notes, taking that time for having them take notes while the teacher is lecturing. It gives the students the opportunity to be more focused and engaged in the lesson or activity. It also improves collaboration. Students become more encouraged to work with others. They want to actually engage in the activity, and it encourages them to be part of the actual activity. We will be moving along with interactive whiteboard brands. So there are many brands. I just picked 3 of them, and I just want to talk about 2 ones that I think are really the most ones that we should focus and are most beneficial to everyone. So for example, there are Prometheans, there are Mimeo, and then there are Smart Technologies. These are all similar brands, but they just vary basically in sizes and what the packages include and their characteristics. So for example, we have Smart Technologies, which was introduced in the 1990s. This type of technology responds to the use of pens and our fingers, and it also comes equipped with tracking cameras, which means that it recognizes and responds to simple hand gestures, like when we erase something, it actually erases it. Then we have the Prometheans, which is the brand I actually prefer. This type of whiteboard allows 4 users to work on the board at a time, so I think it's really beneficial because the teacher can have an activity where it requires the participation of more than one person, and then peers can come up to the board and they can work together to solve a specific problem or to do such an activity. I actually remember using them in my English and math class, and they not only help with learning, I mean, they do improve your learning, but they give you a better visual. They are big, they're clear, and it just helps enhance understanding. Overall, the Prometheans are mostly ideal for the schools because they are entry-level programs and they're just affordable. So they are preferred by schools as well. As I mentioned, I use Prometheans or another like interactive whiteboards in my high school. I remember using them in my English and math class. For example, in English class, we would watch videos about stories or just movies that related to the topics that we were learning that specific week. In math class, we would use them to solve problems, or the teacher would put a problem up on the board and she would have students come up and work on it. And if the student needed help, then the whole class could help them. Then I also remember for English class, the teacher would bring out the internet browser and we could all see it on there and we could just research stuff together. Um, but there are many ways in which you can use these interactive whiteboards. It just depends on the grade you are teaching or you want to use it with. So, for example, I plan to use it with pre-kindergartners. Um, I mean, I could have them practice writing letters or numbers, having them actually trace on the board just so they can follow the line and trace the letter and the numbers. I can also put stories on there and they can practice reading aloud. So, or I can have a student come up and point to each word of the story as we're reading aloud. Um, and then they can also be used to match pictures or other images with what corresponds to it. Um, but I think teachers can just simply use these interactive whiteboards to display various images, to play various sounds, to have students play and learn with it. I mean, they have the power to use their pen or their finger to touch and use the whiteboard. These three main components, visual, sound, and touch, I think they are very important when it comes to using interactive whiteboards. I mean, it provides visuals to students, so students are able to actually see what is being taught. Sound, it allows them to hear the lesson that is being taught. It's not just they are reading it and it's just in their mind. No, they're actually hearing it. And then they are also allowed to touch the whiteboard, so they are interacting with the activity. They're being actually part of the activity, and that's what we want students to do. We want them to be active in our activities and be participate. Um, so we will be moving on to the other operating system that I mentioned at the beginning. So student response systems, which is also known as a clicker. It is a small device that encourages students to be active and participating in the class. Two main things that all teachers want their students to be doing in their classroom: be active and participating in all their activities. This helps transfer information or responses from the student to the teacher through a receiver that is connected to the computer. And then this gives the teacher the responses that have been submitted, and then the teacher can analyze and just view what the students have submitted. If what she is teaching or he is teaching is actually being learned on behalf of the students. So it's a good way that you can record and analyze information instantly. The pros for student response systems. Well, we have that they provide anonymous responses. Other students do not need to know what you have submitted. Even the teacher sometimes doesn't even know what you have submitted. There are many in which you can just have the response from the student be anonymous if you are doing like a survey, so the teacher doesn't even need to know that you actually picked that specific category. So the teacher can have that be anonymous. Also, it projects response graphs. So once responses have been submitted to the teacher, graphs can be created, and then these graphs can be displayed and discussed about. Also, they have the beneficial way that teachers can store these responses and retain them for future analysis or assessment. So they can use these responses to view and see if what is working, not working, and what may and may not be used for future classes. And it also very beneficial because it helps assess the students' learning and understanding. Teachers are able to see if you're focused and understanding what is being taught. And then it also provides immediate feedback to the teacher. So the teacher is able to receive instant feedback about what you just have submitted, what you're learning, what may or may not be working. And it also gives those shy or unprepared students the opportunity to be active in the classroom. It actually allows them to participate without anyone knowing if they know the stuff or they do not know the stuff that they're learning. Then we have brands. As with anything, there are many brands, but I picked three that I thought were the most beneficial. And so there are the eBeam, which they are compatible with Microsoft PowerPoints. Um, they can work with multimedia test questions. They are not even too heavy to carry around, so I think it's a really good way. They are also iRespond, which is also compatible with Microsoft PowerPoint and Word, and they work with multiple choice questions, charts, or graphs. And then the one I most prefer is Turning Technologies. This is something that I've been using through college also. And actually, I learned it. I learned about it through college. I didn't even know it existed, but I thought it was very useful. And these are compatible with all Microsoft programs. They are compatible with the Blackboards, and they work with multiple choice, surveys, and other testing. And they are also available on your iPhone or iPad, so you can use it through its app. So in case you forget this response system or something, you have that backup in your phone because it's something that you probably wouldn't forget. And we also have examples of how we can use student response systems in the classroom. As with anything, there are many ways in which you can use them, but these are some like the main ones. So teachers can use them to keep track of attendance. Teachers can conduct a roll call where they can ask students to sign in by clicking a certain button, and that means that you're there and present in the classroom. And then they can also set like a time where this is how much time you have to be able to sign in and that you're present and not late to class. And then they can also conduct surveys or opinion polls or give students pop quizzes. But it's important to consider that these quizzes are short and that they can be responded by using a clicker. And then we have the checkpoint questions, which is something similar to pop quizzes, but these questions help check if students are focused, if they are learning what is just being taught. If what was just taught 5 minutes ago, did the students actually capture that information? Did they retain it? Did they understand it? So it gives that sort of feedback to the teachers as well. So to review, these two operating systems help engage students in the learning. It gives students the opportunity to learn from different formats, to engage with technology, especially since technology is basically taking over some of our generations. It also gives the students the opportunity to be part of the lesson or the activity. It encourages them to be active in what the teacher is teaching. I would also like to conclude with some tips for using interactive whiteboards. For example, we have practice. Both the students and the teachers should practice using these whiteboards and the softwares that come with it, because they're not also easy to use. They are a little bit complicated, so it's important to understand how to use them before the teacher actually begins to teach and before the student actually begins to use them. Because if we don't practice, then they probably won't even be beneficial in using them in the classroom, but when they are actually beneficial. And then always prepare before class. Make sure that what is being displayed on the board is clear and understandable. Also calibrate your screen. This helps align the touch screen with what's being presented on the board, so the image that's being presented. You don't want to be writing at a certain spot and the lines are appearing somewhere else, so that's why it's important to calibrate your screen. And have fun. You can do a lot with interactive whiteboards. You can play games, you can watch videos, you can write, you can read, you can do a lot. So just have fun, but make sure it does enhance learning. So tips for using student response systems. Keep, if you're going to do questions, if you're going to do quizzes, make sure those questions are short. Keep those questions short because you want students to clearly see and understand them. Do not create also too many questions. I know that you're quizzing the students' knowledge, but you also want them to read and understand the information that is being requested and that they retain such information for future use. You don't want to just throw a lot of questions to them and they just are pressured to answer each question before you take them away. So just keep those quizzes short also. Don't include too many of them. So also have a timer. Give students time to respond to questions, but also add a little bit of pressure. I mean, if you have one question up there, give them about 30 seconds to respond to it or something like that. Also, don't give them like 5 minutes to respond only to one question. So make sure you consider the time as well. Don't overuse the system. You have consider switching back and forth with the electronic and paper test quizzes. You don't want to overuse the system and just have everything on there because it eventually will become boring to the students. And always check and verify that the system is accurately and it's working before class begins. So you don't want to waste time during class and be checking if the questions will actually appear. If the clickers are able to respond to those questions. So make sure all those technology little glitches are reviewed and verified that they work before class begins.